Hey, BrantFurred and Heroes on my channel.
Hi.
And this is Riffti. This is something me and Riffti like to do every now and again. We like to have Pokemon battles. They are generally themed battles, so we pick a random theme and run with it. This time was our second time doing type battles, so we had a couple of different things.
Our first one was water v ice.
And I won that with water. What? So as a result, she got to know my type before the match, whereas I didn't get to know hers. So this is our match. I had Psychic.
And I had Flying.
And we'll show you how it goes. We do live commentary, but we can't exactly live commentate our own sets and whatnot. We'll also have a bit at the end of the video explaining all of our sets and what we went with those. Right away, she started with Gliscor. I went with my brand. I immediately thought of the swap, because my first thought was she is going to use Toxic. Your thoughts for the first turn, other than you turning to see what I was going to do?
Basically, just you turned out of there, got some good damage off, and wanted to see what was coming up.
Yeah. So this Mandibuzz came out. I'm going to change this to slow for now. So Mandibuzz came out, and my thought is, well, I have nothing to do against this. It might Sucker Punch, so paralyze that sucker. That or it might Foul Play, because Foul Play would just wreck house on my team. And she went for the Toxic.
Mandibuzz is my Toxic Mule. Mandibuzz actually has no actual attacking moves.
So it's my brand.
Basically.
So yes, I went into the Enterprise because, well, Toxic is not something I want to deal with. And yeah, Whirlwind into Onion Fairy. And my first thought is, well, crap, I'm going to get Brave Birded. So, back out into the Enterprise.
Yeah, no, basically Mandibuzz is there to Toxic and Whirlwind and Toxic and Whirlwind and Toxic and Whirlwind and so on and so forth.
So I went for the Mega Evolution when she failed the second Toxic and Ice Punched that sucker. Because I'm an ass. And this was my only thing to actually deal with flying types was that Ice Punch. So, I know that Enterprise is my win condition, and she keeps swapping me into goddamn Onion Fairy. So, this time my baton passed out. Maybe hoping, I might be slower or she might switch. And again, Enterprise is the only thing I have to deal with is Mandibuzz. And I got lucky she went for the Roost.
Lucky.
Yeah. Here's where the luck starts. Is that paralysis from earlier? Oh! And... wait for it. Any of your thoughts on how you felt? Getting...
no.
Double paralysis hacks trying to whirlwind me out of there?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, knowing that you didn't have any attacking moves, that makes your moves with Mandibuzz a lot more sense. Because I had to get Mandibuzz out of the way because I know it's a freaking tank. I couldn't deal with it any other way, so...
yeah, no, he has no moves, so...
yeah, then you brought out Hawlucha, and I'm just... My thought with Hawlucha, I have to stop and think about that. I'm a Metagross. What do you expect to happen here? Like, I'm running my mind through Hawlucha's moveset is it's unburdened, it's gonna Sky Attack or something, but it wants... ideally, it should want to do that on any of my other Pokemon.
Nope.
Like, no, she
Break.
comes in,
or no,
Drain Punch. And I'm like, what? And Zen Headbutt, that's it.
Yeah, no, Hawlucha was the only thing I had that really had anything that would go against Steel. So I'm like, fuck me.
Yeah, so then Honchkrow comes out, and my thought is Sucker Punch. I know Sucker Punch is coming, so I make the immediate swap into my brand, because I know, because I don't have any attacking moves, she can't Sucker Punch me. Except for Fake Out. I have Fake Out, but to hell with Fake Out. I was more concerned with other things. I didn't want to give her the opportunity to switch. I wanted the free Reflect if I could. So I got the Reflect up, and this is dual screens thunder waving Meowstic. So, yeah. more dick baggery on my end.
Fuck you.
So there's the paralysis. My brand can't do anything except for set up the light screen, and looking at her team, with the exception of the Pidgeot, I'm not super concerned for that. So I go into... I type out the name. It's supposed to be Zatanna. So I go into Zorana and take the Nightshade. Did not expect the Nightshade. Anyway, again, I expect the Sucker Punch, though, so I go for the Switcheroo and Choice Specs him, so that all he can do is Sucker Punch, and I can take this opportunity to set up something.
Mm-hmm.
So I wind up going back into Zatsu, who Magic Bounce just in case, and he's a Calm Mind stored power 1.
I'm gonna bring out my Dragonite.
Yes. Again, I've got the Reflect up, so I'm not super concerned about Dragonite, and Dragon Rush is a thing. And I'm like, oh damn, I went for the Calm Mind. Now, there's a problem with my Zatsu, is it only has stored power. So as long as the Honchkro's there, I technically can't set up, but I can't hit Dragonite with a nothing stored power. So I'm running through my options. I'm like, crap, I set up that Calm Mind. I should have just gone for the Roost and, like, switched out next turn. But I don't have anything to do with Dragonite other than going into Enterprise. And I don't want to risk that she's got the Earthquake or the Fire Punch or any of the other things that Dragonite can have. So I stayed in here. And I'm like,
Dragonite does have the Earthquake, actually.
Yeah. I knew I could live one Dragon Rush, and I go for the Thunder Wave. So I can possibly try to take advantage of them.
Yeah, this is where I begin to say, eat a dick.
Yes, because I've got 2 different guys with Thunder Wave, and one with Toxic, but I don't think I got to use it at all. And I started roosting up here because I knew he couldn't hurt me enough with the Dragon Rush. I'm not sure, like, I wasn't sure what his item was at this point. I was thinking maybe a Choice Band. Oh, that's why it did 80% damage. My Reflect wore off.
There we go.
I was like, why did that do 81%? Because I wasn't paying it down. My Reflect wore off, and I should have switched. Anyway, I go into Metagross because at this point I'm still kind of expecting the Choice Band, and I go for the Ice Punch.
And this is where I say, eat a bag of dicks!
Because the weakness policy goes off. And, yeah.
And then I'm fully paralyzed.
Again. And then Bullet Punch just to finish off the
Eat
Dragonite.
a bag of dicks, because I was gonna go for the Earthquake and fucking destroy your shit.
So anyway, in comes Honchkrow. Again, the only thing I know it can do to me is Sucker Punch. So, again, full advantage, and out into my brand. To set up another Reflect. Your thoughts?
You played me like a fool.
Like a fiddle. So yes, I know I'm going to get the free Reflect on the Switch, so I go for it as Gliscor comes out, and Gliscor's going to get obviously its Toxic Boost, as all Gliscors are. Or sorry, it's Poison Heal. So I make the swap into Metagross again? No. There we go. I went to Cresselia for the first time, because I didn't want to take a potential Earthquake coming in with Metagross. And goes with a Poison Jab, which is an interesting move. If I had brought any Fairy types, it would have been good. Anyway, the U-turn comes in. I've got the Reflect up, so I don't care. And you go to Pidgeot?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, there we go. You go to Pidgeot. And take a Psychic. Which is... The other kind of problem that Cresselia has is only attacking move is Psychic. So, much like Zatsu, I know I can't do anything. So anyway, I go for the Toxic here because I want to deal with the Pidgeot slowly. And yeah, I don't get to go for the Toxic.
Because of Hurricane, bitches.
So I make the swap because I want to keep Cresselia for a bit into Metagross, just to kind of preserve Cresselia, because I have a little trick up my sleeve later on. And I know I can take, unless it's got the Heat Wave, I can take anything. So he goes for the Protect, which I didn't expect, and I go for the Ice Punch just because I want to do some damage. And here was another bit that got me, is the Roost. So you got Roost, Hurricane, Protect, 4th move. So I go for the Ice Punch, which is now not super effective, and here's where it comes down to a mind game, because I know she's got to Roost again if she wants to live an Ice Punch, and I reveal my Brick Break. So if she Roosts, I Brick Break. If she doesn't, I Ice Punch. And so it's really mind games at this point. And she gets the Air Slash as her last move, and I get flinched.
I love my Pidgeot.
Yeah. So I'm like, well, fuck, I gotta come out of here. And I end up going into Cresselia for that secret that I mentioned. I was expecting the Air Slash again, but she goes for the Hurricane, doesn't get the confusion. And so this time I set up my secret move. I don't expect to live another Hurricane, though. And she goes for the Protect. So I get off a free Lunar Dance.
Which I don't even know what it is.
It's Healing Wish, but the special version. And Enterprise comes in for full health, because again, I know he's the only thing I have that can deal with her Pokemon. So Air Slash trying to flinch, doesn't work, and she takes an Ice Punch to the face.
Boom.
And basically, that's end game, because what is it? Haunch Crow comes out next.
Yeah.
And Sucker Punch is the
Yeah.
only thing I really fear. So I just go for the Bullet Punch because she's paralyzed. Sucker Punch can't hit me if I Bullet Punch. And it does a decent chunk, and just basically it signs off the game.
You just finish me off.
Yeah. The only thing she has that isn't paralyzed that I can probably outspeed is the Gliscor. So if it has Earthquake, I'm a little concerned, but I can bring in Onion Fairy and just, like, Giga Drain him. But no, Ice Punch, and that is the game.
Yeah.
So this means that when we do type battle again, she gets to know my type again.
And you get to kick my ass again, because I suck at this.
Hey, don't worry. It's all about practice and time. Anyway, and now we'll move on to talking about our own teams.
Oh, I don't want to talk about my team.
All right, so this is Isaac Zephyr's team. Well, my team. So I didn't get to know what I was going into the battle, so I had to pick as many guys for coverage as I could possibly think of, based on types. So my first thought for a good psychic type who had decent coverage was going with Choice Specs Delphox, Fire Blast, Shadow Ball, Psyshock, Switcheroo, and just make it a sweeper. Because the coverage in and of itself, it covers most of my bases. The only thing that I could potentially have problems with would be like dual steel types like an Empoleon, but even then Shadow Ball is decent enough. So between a lot of it, the objective Switcheroo, if I get an expendable item, I can also Magician and keep stealing items. It's a pretty good Delphox. I've used it before in other functions, and if you watch Showdown on my channel, as I mentioned, all the guys I make here are actual guys I own in my games. So yes, the Delphox has done me well in the past, and it was my first choice when I got Psychic. Another Pokemon that I had previously that I decided to bring back for another go was my Brand. He was actually a doubles guy I used in one of the first X and Y international challenges. That was his moveset back then as well. He's obviously there to prevent things and set up screens. Light Clay Prankster, the only move he has is Fake Out, so in single battles he has a tendency of not being incredibly useful. He's generally set up the screens and die, but as you got to see from the match, he can take very good advantage of Sucker Punch users, is a switch in and set up some free light screens or reflects, or if it's the last turn you know you're going to have him, set up that last screen and let your other team go through. I believe everybody else was new, so first thought I had was that I needed a decent defensive Pokemon, considering that most Psychic types tend to be on the special defensive side and generally have very weak defenses. So since we were playing in OU, I wasn't allowed to bring anything cool like Deoxys or anything like that, so I ended up going with Cresselia, who does not like to die. I took a simple Toxic set with Moonlight and Psychic, just so that I could hit things. I know Ice Beam is the better option, but I wanted the Stab, and I mean Ice Beam would have helped me knowing she had Flying type, but I think Psychic all in all served me pretty well. And then Lunar Dance to basically bring back either of my two sweepers, being Zatanna the Delphox or Enterprise. As you saw, I got to bring Enterprise back, and it worked pretty well. Because we were doing this in ORAS, this is actually one of my first opportunities to use Mega Metagross. So I wanted to use him, and I went with a simple set, just full offensive, attack-based. So between him and Zatanna, my two sweepers. Full attack means that he gets past any special defensive walls that Zatanna can't deal with, and, well, he's physical. The other physical option I was going to have was Mega Gallade, but I felt that Metagross had better, well, it was just better in my opinion between the two. I didn't have a good set that I wanted to do for Mega Gallade, and 4 attacks Metagross had a lot better coverage. I mean, I could have had Ice Punch, Zen Headbutt, and Close Combat with, like, Bulk Up on a Gallade, but I decided Metagross was the better option for the clear body, just in case there was Intimidate or anything like that, and I just liked the Tough Claws ability. I wanted the higher damage output. So he did well. He was the key to my victory there. If I had lost him, I was done, because the other members of my team couldn't do much. Then there's Chief. I was tossing up between 2 different stored power users, the other one being Espeon. The bit with my Espeon is that I would want to have Hidden Power fighting, and I didn't have that on my current one. The other bit was I wanted some more cross-typing, some Earthquake resistance other than Cresselia. So he's just Calm Mind, Stored Power, Roost, and I gave him Thunder Wave for the sake of outspeeding things, because he's actually got a special defensive build. He was the only special defense... Well, actually, him and Celebi were both my special walls. So, facing special stuff, he was my go-to. The other bit is the Magic Bounce, means that I can prevent things like Stealth Rock. I don't need to have that on my own side, and whatnot. So, turn 1, I actually expected the Stealth Rocks from the Gliscor. When that didn't happen, I was surprised to begin with, and then it came in handy with the Toxic. So yeah, that was why he was my first choice for switch in. After, what was it? Did I have my brand out? I think I had my brand out, and I couldn't Thunder Wave Gliscor, so I didn't want to take the risk. I didn't want to take the chance of the Stealth Rocks. And then the last member of the team who didn't get much action because the flying type obviously, didn't help it at all, was Onion Fairy, my Celebi, who was Recover, Heal Bell, Giga Drain, Baton Pass. Baton Pass for the sake of getting out of like any Shadow Tags or Fire Spins or anything like that. You can't keep Celebi in as long as you've got Baton Pass, so you can't take advantage of the fact that it only has Giga Drain. And then Heal Bell Recover, it heals itself, and Heal Bell was just there for the sake of getting rid of burns off of Enterprise and any potential status on other guys. But the main thing I needed to focus on here was making sure Enterprise didn't get burned, because if he got burned, I was done. But yeah, no, so that was the team. And they served me well, considering that I was going in blind. Next will be Rifti's explanation of her team.
I didn't want to do this, but Isaac is forcing me to. He says he'll beat me if I don't. I want to avoid being beat because he hurts me. That was a joke. Isaac doesn't beat me. I could probably beat him if I wanted to. Anyway. But no, Isaac does tell me that I'm terrible at this and playing Pokemons and making my teams and such, and it's true, I am. I basically put this team together in about 7 minutes before our match because I put it off for a really long time because we were supposed to have the Battle Light forever ago, and I just never got around to it. So, I was like, you know what? Who's a Pokemon I've never used before? Mega Pidgeot. Let's use them. So I'm like, okay, sweet. Mega Pidgeot has no guard. Didn't know that, but now I do. So let's give it 2 attacks that have relatively low accuracy to make use of the no guard. So I threw on Hurricane and Air Slash. Roost for longevity there, and Protect just so I can see what other people are doing. And not, go in blindly. And I was looking down the list and I'm like, oh shit, Dragonite's half flying now, isn't he? So put on multi-scale and a weakness policy, and gave him Roost, Dragon Dance, because every Dragonite has Dragon Dance. And I'm like, you know what, Dragon Rush sounds cool, let's throw that on along with an Earthquake, so we can Earthquake all the motherfuckers. And I'm like, alright, Halucha, let's see, I've never used you before, and let's see. So I tried putting on a Flying Gem, but you can't, or ask, because Flying Gems don't exist. So I gave him Mold Breaker and Brick Break because I knew Isaac was going to bring his stupid Meowstic to the battle. I'm like, you know what, Acrobatics going to be awesome with the fact that I can't use an item. Oh my god, we're still having this problem. Go away, don't want that. Home Claws, and I couldn't remember what his exclusive fighting flying move was called, so I just gave him Drain Punch instead. Then we have Honchkrow, which is essentially a clone of a Honchkrow that I have in my actual game, with Life Orb, Moxie, Roost, Brave Bird. I screwed up and actually misclicked and gave him Night Shade instead of Night Slash. I didn't realize it till halfway through the battle, and I'm like, and Night Slash! Oh, shit. Okay, well, we'll Night Shade instead. Why not? And then Sucker Punch. Then Mandibuzz, because it's the only other dark type, flying type I could think of off the top of my head. So I threw it on with Roost, Defog, Toxic, and Whirlwind, so that it could basically just Toxic and Whirlwind and Toxic and Whirlwind and Toxic and Whirlwind. But it didn't work very well because Isaac just kept throwing in his stupid... Fuck. Metacross, that's right. I keep wanting to call it Hulk Arms. Because I can't remember what it's called. And then we have Gliscor, which I also fucked up on because for whatever reason I thought Gliscor was a flying poison type instead of a flying ground type. So I gave it 2 poison moves thinking I was going to have stab when I wasn't, when I could have just earthquaked all the motherfuckers, like Dragonite there. And then I threw on U-turn because I'm like, you know what? Since I have a poison type, which is weak to psychic, I'll give him a bug move, which will make him strong against psychic. Yeah! Yeah, I'm not very bright when it comes to this stuff. So anyway, that's my team in a nutshell. I didn't put a whole lot of thought into it, but I tried my best for the time given. Bye, everyone!